All right, Jace gets optimized week 2. Had stellar results in week 1, so I was really excited to move into week 2, especially since it's such a sensitive area for me where I've had a long history of really hating myself to like less extreme disliking myself, not being happy with who I am or things about me, not being able to show myself love at all or to celebrate who I am or be confident in who I am. And I've always been that way. I've lived my whole life that way. And so, man, I've done a lot of work in recovery as well as therapy and other self improvement, self help type stuff. And that's a really tough one to kick. Accepting self and loving myself is really hard for me. So I was happy that we were going to touch on that in week 2. And so we looked at patterns, we looked at beliefs that I have, we looked at intentions and stories that are being told, and we looked at change a lot. And one thing I really gained from it, which I really thought was super helpful, is that change is happening constantly. You know, that's what they always say. The only constant is change. And it's true, change is happening constantly. But things grow when we give them life, and things decay when we do not give them life, right? And so it's like really change is going to happen one way or the other, and we get to kind of dictate to some extent what that's going to look like based on what we're giving life to. So what we're focusing on, what we're putting intentions behind and really being present for. And so for me, you know, a lot of what my change was happening was negative because I was giving a lot of life to the negative thoughts and the negative things that were coming up. And something, you know, change happens and it can be good or bad. I mean, it's not, I don't believe in good or bad, but it could be positive or negative. It could serve you or it could not serve you based on how I handle it, right? And so it's like, how do I go into those times of change and fuel the positive outcome and put time and energy into that instead of giving life and energy to the one that will have negative results, which I don't know why I do that. That sounds weird. Like, why would I do anything that would be negative? But I do it all the time with negative self talk, with self sabotage, with all of these different things. So we looked into that, and we looked into um, loving yourself, which is really cool. And so one of the concepts that blew my mind was that, you know, we always have these calls for love, and the only one that can answer them is ourself. And we have them in the forms of loneliness or needs or wants or, you know, all of these different things. But at the end of the day, the only one who can really fulfill those things is me, for me, and no outside source can do it. They might be able to help in some ways, but really I have to be responsible for answering my own calls of love, which is hard because I've not had a background in doing that and I don't know how. Which is okay because we talked about a lot of different ways to to do that, and part of that is understanding my wants and needs. What are my calls? What are being, you know, called out there? What are those wants? What are those needs? And how can I fulfill them? So, you know, and also when we're in these really hard situations, which I do get into plenty, you know, again with where I'm at in recovery or coming from a trauma background, all of these things, you know, you get in this really tough, scary spot every now and again emotionally and all of that. And so we worked on steps to go through when in that situation to take care of myself and to love myself through those things, and to really come out with a positive aspect. So these are actually practical step-by-step guide on what to do in order to come out of that on top and to fuel the right change and to really take care of myself in all situations. And so one of the things that you know is really rare, at least has been for me, is being okay with what I'm feeling. I fought so hard to not feel and felt so negatively when I would feel things. I felt so much guilt and shame around feeling. So, you know, just right away being like, it's okay. I feel this way and that's okay. And just really accepting it and being okay with it. Sounds simple, but I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm weird in that way where I fight what I'm feeling, but I did for so long. So just acknowledging that it's okay, and then really to like be in it, like really feel it. Which again, I didn't even want to acknowledge that I had feelings, let alone feel them. But really getting in there and feeling the fullness of it, which can be intense. But honestly, like not feeling, I could tell you this from personal experience, not feeling has a much longer effect than just feeling it in that moment. It's like a really slow, dull death, like just that lasts forever. It's just like the slow pain that's just constant for all of time, and then you die, which sounds terrible. And it is. So just getting in there and dealing with it right away and just really feeling it. And then listening to what, the heart, the mind, the body is needing and saying in those moments, and really getting to where it's coming from. And then, when you feel it and you're done, just be done. I so often will dwell on things and hold them for a long time, and that makes it worse. That just keeps me in that position, and it gives fuel to that which is not serving me. So just being done when I'm done, not holding on to it. And really, at that point, coming back to my intentions, the things that I'm wanting and needing, and like where I want to be, who I want to be, how I want to show up, really coming back to that place instead of dwelling in whatever was happening. And so I got very specific ways to do this, which was really cool. And then, and then we went on to tools of how to show love for self, and kind of like a toolkit for self-love and self-celebration, what to do in high moments, what to do in low moments. And we developed this together. It wasn't like being dictated. And that's a really cool thing about Jeremy in this process, is that it's stuff that I'm coming to on my own, but he's guiding me in a really just like it's like the most comfortable way. It's like being with a friend and you have to go down like a scary alleyway, but it's like, oh, it's totally fine because my friend's right there. And, it's really safe and really cool. And a lot of this stuff is stuff that I've touched on in therapy, but not in this way where it's so intense and really holistic, getting to the core of these things, really challenging me and pushing me and having much faster and in some ways much greater results in a short amount of time. So yeah, we went through that, and I have my toolkit and I have all of these things, and I really felt so much lighter this week. And it's neat to love yourself and to do nice things and to do healthy things as well, which before I self-medicated. That's not taking care of self. In fact, for me, that was making my life worse longer. But I was just dulling it. I was putting a Band-Aid on, a huge open flesh wound, and be like, ew, that Band-Aid, that'll do it. That should take care of it, right? While blood is like slowly seeping out and grossing everybody out. I don't know why that was the analogy, but there it is. So now I'm actually like taking care of the wound and wrapping it and putting all of the antibacterial stuff on it and everything, and really taking care of myself and loving myself. And I like it. I like it. It's fun. It feels really good to love and celebrate myself and to show myself love in all of these different ways. So I feel like I can get through anything now because all I need is me, and I'm with me all of the time. And I don't need my needs to get met from the outside, though there are some things that definitely require other people, and that's not, a bad thing at all, not a negative thing, or, anything that was dissuaded. But I'm still in control of those things, and I can ask for them when I need it. And if I have a need that I'm asked to have met and doesn't get met, that's okay, because I'm still fulfilling all of the things I want and need, which is such a powerful gift to give somebody, the ability to do that. And that's come on top of all of this other work as well. But this just like, again, it's that next level, right? It's taking all of the things I've learned, all of the guides I've had, all of that work, and, it was really getting stagnant for me. And so now it's just like skyrocketed, next level, which is what it's all about, which is why it's optimization, right? It's not getting good, it's not getting better, it's getting to that optimal place of functioning and connection. oh my gosh, it's such a cool process. And Jeremy's a killer guide, a really good coach to be doing this with. I'm feeling so fortunate to get to work with him and go through this. So, um, yeah, I will. What else? Oh, we looked at like how much I'm stuck in the past as well. How often am I thinking about it? What's triggering it? Is it internal? Is it external? And someone who, I feel like I'm pretty present, but I had to track that all week. And really, I'm in the past a lot in my head. Um, so next week, we're going to look at moving on from that. And so week 1 and 2 are education and knowledge of self. Week 2 and 3 are going to be mastery. So how to get control of emotions, intentions, all of these things. Like, okay, recognize them. Now, what can we do to really master them? So I'm really looking forward to that because that's like next level, gone, next level. It's amazing what can be done in a week when you're working with someone who is, really knowledgeable about this stuff, really in tune with all this, has a really good background in all of it, and just like has this great intuition of where to take me and how far I can take myself. So I can't wait. I can't even think about what it'll be like at the end of 8 weeks with this course, because even just 2 weeks, I feel so like much happier and more capable and more calm and relaxed and patient and just all of these things, even in just 2 weeks. So, oh my gosh, times that by 4. Like, wow, what's going to happen? Who knows? But I will report back after this next week, and we'll see how it goes. See you then.